Hello everyone and welcome back to the Racing Writers Podcast. As always, I'm your host, Kelly Crandall. My guest today is Matt DiBenedetto of Go Fas Racing. Matt and I had a nice conversation, just more trying to get to know him, the underdog over at the single car team, driving the number 32. So a lot of today's conversation is just about his background. Like I said, better getting to know him, where he came from, how he worked his way up. And one of the things you're going to learn right away is that Matt is definitely a bona fide car guy. His love of cars, racing, anything that has an engine, as he said, is right up his alley. Matt, of course, as I said, drives for Go Fas Racing. Year 2 over there in that 32 car, he's got an average finish this year of 24th, which is pretty sporty for them. So he's going to evaluate their season, the progress that they've made since he's joined the team. Again, he's going to talk about his nicknames, which I was actually quite surprised. I guess I have not paid enough attention that Guido is in fact his real middle name. So our conversation today in this podcast actually starts about the Jersey Shore. Yes, you heard that correctly. We're going to talk about the Jersey Shore, and then we're going to get into late models, his constant battle for funding, and everything along the way that has gotten him to NASCAR. So Matt is a great guy, one of the more energetic personalities in the garage, and everybody at Go Fas Racing is doing a great job with what little they have. We did record this at the shop here in Mooresville, North Carolina. I got to see the space and see what they're working with, and they are a fun group. They are diehard racers, which you'll also hear Matt talk about, and they just love racing. They love their jobs, and they are very dedicated to the cause. So led over there by Randy Cox, and everybody over at Go Fas Racing, again, is doing a great job. So we're going to get to know Matt DiBenedetto a little bit better today. Again, constant thank yous for all of the ratings and reviews. And still more great episodes to come, lining up some interviews, and I still have Brett Moffitt, who is going to be next up. I recorded that a couple weeks ago as well. So this week is Matt DiBenedetto as we get ready for Dover and the Monster Mile. Let's get to it. Let's start with the hard-hitting question. How many nicknames do you have? At this point, I feel like it's almost as many home tracks as Martin Truex Jr.
Oh, man. How many nicknames? I'd say
D Burrito.
Guido, my middle name.
Yeah. Wait, that's a legitimate middle name?
Yes. Oh, yeah, that's my real middle name.
How did I not know that?
Yeah, I'm Matthew Guido DiBenedetto.
How did I not know that?
Yeah.
I thought that was just...
no.
Just sounded good.
Nope, that's a lot of people think it's like a nickname or something, and it's my real middle name.
Okay. There has to be a story there.
So my family is obviously full Italian. Okay. So my dad is 100% Italian, and his whole side of the family. So that was my grandfather's first name, was Guido, which Guido is a very, like, a common Italian name. So
not just something that gets thrown around at the Jersey Shore, right?
Exactly. See, the show Jersey Shore actually kind of ruined the name Guido, or the connotation of it. So
maybe that's why I didn't take it serious. I was like, oh, he's just making that up.
Oh yeah, it's like, yeah, someone just asked me the other day, like, excited for Jersey Shore to fire back up? I'm like, no, they ruined the connotation of my middle name. Yes. Oh it used to be like a cool, authentic, like, oh wow, it's neat, cool Italian name because your family's full Italian, and then Jersey Shore came along and then ruined it for me.
It ruined that show ruined a lot of things for a lot of people from New Jersey.
Yeah.
So, like, me being from New Jersey, like, we're like, no, that's not accurate.
It was even bad enough. They ruined the connotation of my middle name bad enough to where it was even suggested to me to not push my middle name Guido as my nickname because of the connotation of it. I'm like, it's my real middle name now.
That's right. That's what I mean. Oh my gosh. Okay, so that is a real middle name, so that can double as a nickname. And then Burrito.
Yeah.
Am I missing any other ones? Because I feel like every time I turn around, there's a new one.
Well, Matty D is what they started calling me on TV because it was easier than Matt DiBenedetto. So that was another one.
We have to apologize. I think all of us in the media, it took us a while to figure out exactly how to pronounce your name. Kind of like Kozlowski.
It's okay. Everyone seems pretty good now.
Yes.
Now that I'm becoming like a veteran of the garage fourth full-time year in Cup.
Now that we've realized we're not going to get rid of you anytime soon, we've decided to learn your name.
Exactly. I'm stuck. I'm not going anywhere.
Right.
I think those are the major ones. I've had many other little ones along the way, like that'll pop up randomly.
Okay. So the reason I ask is because you, one of the most recent announcements from you and everybody at Go Fast is you're using that for a business opportunity, the hashtag team D Burrito. So what, if you want to explain what exactly is, how did that come about, first of all, and then it just explain to fans what it is.
Yeah, so the Team Burrito rewards program, I guess, was, when we reached out on social media when we were unsponsored for a race, we were like totally overwhelmed at all the support by, even other drivers, as everyone saw, but all the fans like wanting to help and be a part of it. So it almost made us like, wow, we got to go to work and do something here to where we can, reward them for trying to help or do something cool, So then we created a program where if they refer us to a sponsor, they know somebody, a CEO or president or owner of a company, and they refer us, to them, then and we land a sponsorship deal, depending on how small or big, then we, they can win a range of things. Like the least we can do is bring them to the track or something. It's a fan-driven opportunity in a sense. Like, this is for the fans. Yeah, exactly. It was because at first when we reached out on social media, the support was just so overwhelming that we were like, we need to do something for these people, like wanting to be so involved and wanting to help. So that was really all it was right. We just were like, we got to do something for all these people trying to help. So then we were like, let's throw in some incentives, at least, so they're not just working and, we know they want to be a part of it and help, but so they're not just like working to death and trying to help us and nothing in return, we're like, let's do some little rewards program. So we all just kind of came up with it pretty quick, in a couple of days. We're like, hey, this would be a cool deal. It's pretty simple. I know you've talked a little bit about this over the last couple of weeks of that the tweet and everything that happened after it. When you sat down, though, and said, I'm going to put something on Twitter, what initially went through your mind? Because normally doing something like that, people could take it many different ways. Maybe not professional, or, oh, that's weird, or whatever. Like, did you have any hesitation at first of doing it, or was it more of, we have to do something because this could help? Like, that's the power of social media. Yeah, it was definitely, I knew it was an out-of-the-box type of thing, and we talked about it prior to, and it wasn't like some big planned-out, thing. It seems like everything that I do is just kind of natural and organic. It's nothing, and I don't... Off the cuff. Yeah, that's all pretty much. As it happened. Yeah, and we thought about it, and I'm like, hey, what the heck? We were unsponsored going into that race, and I'm like, we're talking about it, and I'm like, man, what the heck? The power of social media is crazy. You may get some negative comments from it, but you never know. But overall, my support from my fan base is different than a lot, I think, because everyone is so devoted and loyal, and they really want to help so much, and they embrace our kind of the underdog story, and how I've had to overachieve my whole career. So I felt like, hey, what the heck, let's give it a shot, and what's the worst that can happen? Nothing comes out of it, or at least we tried, and then surely a lot more came out of it than we expected. How did you develop such a following? Because even before this whole craze on social media, like, you've had a very dedicated fan base that's done nothing but just grow over the last couple years. Do you have a reason for why you think that is? Is it because everybody loves an underdog, or is it how engaging you are, or do you even have an answer? It seems like the last couple years you've been able to really grow that support. I've had to actually think about this one to try and answer this question, because I've got it a handful of times, and I guess I had to actually think about it, because it was, I've never had any plan of like, all right, this is my plan of attack and how we're going to gain a fan base or following. None of that. Yeah. It's been all I've done is just be myself and share my story with everybody and show people how hard that I work and how much I care about our sport as a whole and about my team. That's literally all I do. And then aside from that, just show my personality too. And aside from, how hard I work and things like that, just show my life at home and, who I am and just the general stuff that I like to work out. I like to prank my wife a little bit. Like, look, just, every little thing that's just me. That might be one of the greatest things about being on Twitter. Yes. Just, okay, what did Matt do to his wife today? Yeah, poor girl. I don't know why she puts up with me. But yeah, really, that's been it. No plan. I had to actually think about it. I'm like, I think why my following's become so dedicated, and we've grown a pretty big following for my situation is, I think, people we can relate with people. They can relate with me because I've had to work so hard the super old school way to get here, which has been very unconventional. I'm a first generation racer. I have no, it's not like I have any funding behind me, no last name, nothing. So I've done this, like gone against every odd in the world. Yeah. And I think people, respect that, which is cool. And they respect how hard I work and how much I care about the sport in general and how, much I want to get to the top and be winning races and things like that. So it's cool that everyone embraces that, but there was no plan to it though.
So let's talk about that, because you mentioned this is not the first time you've kind of been the little guy that could or is trying to do a lot with a little. So what was it about NASCAR that caught your attention? Because I remember, I think it was after Bristol, after that run a couple years ago, where, again, we all were starting to get to know you, that you had told a story about how you were 5 or 6 and you told your dad Tony to put a NASCAR race on. What was it that caught your attention that you wanted that you wanted it on the TV?
All it was he was just flipping through the channels on the TV and passed by NASCAR, and again, nobody in my family had ever watched racing a day in their lives. I was just the odd bird of the family, I guess. I made him go back to it and watch it, and he's like, well, what the heck do you want to watch that for? And I just loved it, and I loved Jeff Burton's number 99 Exide Batteries car. Just
Excellent
loved it.
Car.
Yep, that was my favorite. I watched it every single week and made him watch it. And then it became a thing where, we watched it enough to where then my dad liked it, and that was our thing together. So we watched NASCAR together every week. And then, for my 5th birthday, he bought me a 4-wheeler, and so I was just wide open, and it wasn't even near fast enough for me, and next year had to get me a faster one, and stuff that was really way too big for me to be riding. But
where were you riding the 4-wheelers?
We lived on 6 acres out in California. Yeah, so we had a good bit of property that was nice, beautiful green grass until I just tore it all to pieces and made it into a track.
So besides Jeff Burton, who else did you follow? Anybody else? Were you one of those kids? Did you have T-shirts and cars and all that stuff, or what was it like being young Matt getting into racing? Oh
yeah, I had my first piece of merchandise that I bought was I think I got one of those die-cast cars, Jeff Burton's Exide Batteries car. But I think first, aside from that, piece of merchandise I bought was a Dale Jr. jacket. So I was a Dale Jr. fan growing up, and I bought that at Auto Club Speedway when I was 7 or 8 years old.
Now, I have to ask, was it the real Dale Jr. jacket that had Budweiser on it, or the ones where they changed for kids where it just said his name?
No, mine was, I think...
Because how in video games sometimes
mine was real.
Okay, because in EA Sports games, for Rusty's old Miller Lite car, they would take the alcohol off, and it would just say Rusty Wallace or Dale Jr.
No, I'm pretty sure Sterling I was rocking a Budweiser jacket at 8.
Love it.
Yeah, no, I was. So he was also one of my favorites. I kind of liked everybody. I liked the guys that were just diehard racers, which a lot of them in that era were. There were so many. Tony Stewart, Mark Martin, and I still have their little cars on my wall in my office, because some people have seen in my videos I do in my office. So I still have that stuff. So yeah, who says you can't still be racing in NASCAR and still be a fan?
Did you ever get in trouble wearing the Dale Jr. Budweiser jacket as a kid? And the reason I ask is because I may or may not know someone who once wore it to middle school and had the principal make a public address.
Oh no, I never even thought of that. I don't know if I wore it to school or not to test that theory out, but I wore it all the time, either at home or when I went to races and stuff.
Yeah, they don't take kindly to middle schoolers wearing alcohol.
I didn't even think about that, man. Especially nowadays, people are even more sensitive now, so that would be a tough subject. If,
I know.
That's funny. I never even thought of it that way. That I was 8 years old and wearing a Budweiser Dale Jr.
I may or may not have know that person. When you getting into late models, again, going back to just stuff that you've told us throughout the years, again, this is not the first time you've had to fight for, sponsorship and opportunities. I read somewhere that there was one time where maybe you were 13 and things didn't look good, but you stood up somewhere at an awards banquet and said, you told everybody, don't worry, I'm going to be a NASCAR driver. Is that true?
Oh my gosh, I've had so many obstacles to overcome. But when I was the time when we quit for real, like sold all our stuff, was actually when I was 16. Yeah, I was 16 years old, and I was racing in the UARA Stars Touring Series in late models, and throughout the year, like toward the end of the year, we were telling people, like my dad was like, "Hey, we're done after this year," and people didn't believe us. They're like, "Oh yeah, sure, you guys will be back next year." He's like, "No, like really, we can't afford it anymore. We're done." And at the banquet that year, I basically told people that we were done and having to sell everything, but hopefully something would come through, and I'm still gonna fight and do everything I can. And sure enough, it's crazy how everything worked out. But yeah, my whole career has been always making a lot out of little and always overachieving. Even as a family team, when I was racing late models, we did not have near the equipment, not even close to what other people had, and we had all volunteer guys, so it was a very low budget operation, and we still managed to win championships and a lot of races and that kind of stuff. And then when I got an opportunity to hop in a good late model, after we sold all our stuff and quit, somebody was like, "Hey, we'll at least put you in our car a few times." And when I got in good equipment, then we really dominated and smoked everybody. So it was fun. Makes you really appreciate it when you get those opportunities.
So where'd the confidence come from that I can do this and I can get all the way to NASCAR? I can get to where I want to go.
Well,
is that just your personality, or did you just...
Yeah, I know very strongly what I'm good and bad at, and my parents were also very honest and realistic with me. If I sucked at something, I sucked at it. That just was what it was. I wasn't, they told me I played baseball growing up. My dad coached my baseball team, and he's big into baseball. That's his passion. And he said, "You're a mediocre baseball player. You suck at soccer." So it was all like,
love it.
But as far as racing and riding four wheelers, anything related to something with an engine, that was just always my thing. Like I could just get on anything with an engine or drive anything, and I mean that's all I'm good at. That's like my only passion. That's all I care about. That's number one thing in my whole life. And so when you care about something that much, you won't let anything get in your way, and you fight and claw and do everything in the world just to make sure that's what you do. Because I couldn't even live with myself if I knowing that this is what I am so good at, and knowing what I can bring to a team and like ours, and improve anywhere that I go. Like knowing you're that good at something, you have that, that's your skill set. To if I had to live my life knowing that it was just there, I had all that ability and wasted. And it just wouldn't sit right with me. I know every odd in the world's been stacked against me, and some things are out of your control, but it would just eat me alive. To where if I was doing something else, say selling cars or doing something else, I'd feel like I was just wasting my life away, when I have a God-given talent that's my thing in life.
Yeah. So it's funny that you mentioned the sports, because I was going to ask that. You apparently did dabble in other sports. So was it just baseball and soccer? And I guess you quickly learned that those were not for you.
Yeah, I was okay at baseball. I wasn't spectacular, but I wasn't bad by all means. My dad was a good coach, so he taught me well. And I'm, fairly athletic naturally, I guess, but nothing crazy when it came to that. I was horrible at soccer, though. That was embarrassing how bad I was. So my dad couldn't even watch me. I was so awful. So that was a no.
Which makes it awkward, because you mentioned that he was the coach. So
yeah. Oh, for baseball, he was the coach, and I was okay at that. So he said I was third best on the team, or fourth best or something. He was realistic. No, but other than that, I never played football other than for fun, little random stuff. And the other day I got to play flag football with my Ford teammates at the Dallas Cowboys training facility. So that was fun, but I was okay at that stuff. But, I like being athletic and always being on the go and doing things like that, but not, just not really, don't have the talent with anything else like racing.
So it's always been racing. So in your spare time, if you're not playing flag football, is it all about cars and engines and things that go fast? What is it away from the racetrack? Is that still what you care about, what you're thinking about, that's the focus?
Man, I can sum up my life and my interests in a very short period of time. All I like are, I like to work out and stuff, and so I do CrossFit stuff now, and I still lift some weights and things like that. So I like to workout, but my whole life revolves around cars in some way, shape, or form. So it's racing, and if I'm not at the racetrack and racing, if I'm at home, I like to play iRacing or something. I have my simulator, or and I love cars too in general, like street cars, and I love modding cars, making them my own, building cars, things like that. So that's my whole passion, is something related to cars of some sort. I'm trying to get a GT350 now. And every car I get, I have to mod it. So like I'm trying to get a GT350. I want to do a bunch of stuff to it, like lower it, put a different splitter on it, and then do a twin turbo kit on it and make it like, I always have to make them my own. I drive an F-150 as soon as I got it. Like I didn't even pick it up until it was done. I got it bone stock, it's white, and then we changed the front grille in it, put a leveling kit on it, put some cool like fuel wheels, tires. Like I always make stuff like, people look at my vehicles and know, oh, that's Matt's.
So you have how many then? It sounds like if you're a car guy, I'm sure the garage has to be loaded then.
Well,
or getting close.
I don't have too many. I've had many. Okay. I've had cars, but I don't have
How many have you had at one time?
For me personally, the most I think was 3 at once. So yeah, three cars for me at one time, but.
Okay, so at least you're level-headed enough that you don't need like too many at one time. You just the focus just switches every once in a while. Okay, I'm done with this one. Now what can I get next?
Oh, I mean, I want very many of them. It's hard to control. I try and be smart. We live in a normal house in a normal neighborhood. I try to be smart with my money and invest and
not clog the street.
Yeah, not be too crazy. But I do have a bad car addiction though. That's tough. In some ways, I wish I didn't, because it costs a lot of money. But that's my whole passion in life, is something car related.
So you mentioned on Twitter recently that you had a 2-hour conversation with NASCAR President Brent Dewar, I guess in Daytona. Was it? I'm assuming it was about cars and racing then.
Oh. I think I was actually underestimating it at 2 hours. I think it might have actually been more like 3. But yes, me and Brent get along really well, because he's been in the production car industry for a really long time, and he was with GM for a really long time.
Another car guy.
Yes,
so I'm assuming you two hit it off very well.
Oh, that's all we talked about. Yeah. I was showing him my cars over the years and all the things I've done, all the builds I've done, and what I want to do in the future. And we weren't even really talking a whole ton about racing. It was a little bit we did, about my passion for just racing in general. But oh my gosh, we talked forever about cars and just street cars and things. Yeah.
All right, so let's talk racing. I figured I'd get to it eventually. So year 2 over here at Go Fas Racing. How would you assess the progress that's been made in terms of going from last year to, granted we're early on into the season, but kind of where do you see the trend upward? Are you happy with where things are going? It seems like you're happy being here. So kind of how would you assess how things have gone with the team since you first joined up with them? Oh,
it's been awesome. We've just, I'm really nothing without all the people around me. So we have a lot of good people, and that's what's been great here. Is we may be a small budget team, but we have really good quality people that I'd put up against anybody in the garage. I mean, that good. So that's what makes it to where we can make so much out of a little small budget here. But since I came on board, and we have gotten some of the right people on, and we've been building a team. I don't even want to say slowly. We've been building the team fast. We've made a lot of improvement in a little time and been the most improved team in the garage. We are, I don't have any hesitation saying we are the best small team in the garage, by far, compared to what we make out of what we have is second to nobody. I'm really proud of it. Who do you
compare yourselves to then in that regard? What would you say is the competition?
Well, yeah, we have teams like... and this is no knock on any other team.
But I'm saying, how do you, realistically, you guys know you're not going to go out there and outrun a Joe Gibbs Racing. You want to. You're going to try. But realistically, when you're shooting for something on the board, who is that other team that you think you should be either matching or that you want to beat?
So I would say, who we gauge ourselves against is, maybe the front row cars. They run on a lot higher budget than us. They have a lot more funding, a lot more people, a lot more support, things like that. But we still shoot for that because we want to overachieve every week. We don't want to compare ourselves to, people at our level or below. We want to shoot for beating those people that we know makes them very angry when we beat them, because it's satisfying for us. So we compare to like those guys, maybe the 95 team and things like that, which those are really good, quality teams, and they spend a lot more money than we do and have a lot more resources. But if we kind of shoot for that and make that our goal, like at the end of the day, if we're like, man, we outran some of those guys, like, that's a kind of a next tier up, like we outran those guys, that's great for us. So, and I feel like we've been building our team, and we've separated ourselves from like a lot of the smaller teams. We're kind of like at that level where we can, on our good days, race and outrace some of those teams like that are theoretically we shouldn't.
What would you say is the strength of, like, what are you guys doing well that you can build off of?
We have Randy Cox as our crew chief now, so that's the most recent change that we've made here. But
because he's not new to the game.
No, not at all.
So that comes with experience.
Exactly. He's got a really good attitude. He's smart. He can do it all, and he's a very methodical, like, technical guy. So I think that's going to be the next place where we gain some more strengths, are with him. But so we've acquired some really good people and built that over time, and now having Randy, I think that's going to help us in some different areas where we may have lacked just a little bit before, on some of the technical things, and him working with the Ford Performance people really closely to fill in some little gaps that we may have had before. But that's it. We just have really good people. Like Greg Carpenter does all our aero stuff and our bodies. He's really good. So we just have so many people that are like experienced, know what they're doing, and can make a lot out of a little. And we're all racers here. It's not like a group of, no disrespect to them, it's not like a group of engineers. We can't afford to have a whole bunch of engineers, so we have to have people that can multitask. And these are all racers here, and that's what's our biggest strength here.
Is that why you have fit in so well with this group? Because again, it seems like you're very comfortable here. From everything that we can tell on the outside, everybody gets along, and again, this is just a group that is building and building and building. Is it that racer mentality, and with how much you obviously enjoy racing and race cars, has that helped the transition and kind of making you comfortable here, and everybody getting along?
Oh yeah, that's why I feel at home here, and why we can just build and put our heads down and dig and keep building this team, and why I think we all have such a good relationship here, and it's like a family, is because every one of these people in this building are, diehard racers. That's all we care about, and that's, people know, if they're around me, they know that is all I care about, is racing. That's all that goes through my brain 24 hours a day. Even my wife understands it and knows it, and she's okay with it. That's my passion, that's my thing, and these guys can feel that, and I think it makes everyone I'm around work harder, because they know, like, their driver isn't a slacker, just going and doing his job and leaving or whatever. Like, this is my life, and this is all I care about. So I do anything and everything to be better every day. So that rubs off on everyone, and same with them. They're all racers, so it rubs off on me. We all feed off each other and want to be better. Coming
here, we're here at the shop, and this is the first time I'd been here. Ryan Ellis was nice enough to take me around when I came in, and I think, as you mentioned, you kind of noticed that as everybody feeds off each other, everybody's doing what needs to be done. It's not, of course, the biggest shop in the world, but you guys have your space. You're comfy here. You get the job done. When you come into the shop, is it come in and kind of get that same vibe as well? They've got music playing out there. It's a fun team. Again, you guys are all racers, so it has to be, there's that competitive aspect, but you guys are having fun here too.
It's cool. Like, I love the fact that our guys, they work with each other all the time, every week, every day. And then when we're on the road, where they're working their butts off at the racetrack and sweating and like just working like crazy. But then aside from that, like in the evenings, they'll go out together and,
I was
and
gonna
hang
ask,
out. Yeah.
If it's a bunch of racers, like, there has to be some fun stuff that you guys do together.
Oh yeah. It's so cool that everybody here, we all hang out. Like me and my crew chief Randy, we went and Ryan, the three of us went and worked out together on Saturday evening, and like Mason, is our general manager. We'll go to the gym together. We'll go eat together. Like, all of us at some point, we all, like, on the weekends, we hang out. Aside from when we have spare time, aside from like being at the racetrack and racing, we do other stuff together. So it really is like a big family. Everyone here does that.
Yeah. I guess I'll end with this then. So Matt, if I was to come back to you at the end of the year and we talk about the season, what is it that you hope to be able to tell me that you and this team accomplished?
Like shooting for, if we can finish, in the top 30 in the points is a good goal. But, I would just, it's hard to pinpoint exactly one single accomplishment or what I want to do. It's just, in general, all I want to do is stick with the motto that I always go by is overachieve. So just on a weekly basis, or in general, I just want to be able to look back at the season. We all want to be able to look back at the season and be like, man, we overachieved and we made a lot out of what we have. I just want to feel like we made the most of what we have, which we surely are doing, already to start off this season by, having a shot at winning the Daytona 500, already, and then this past weekend finishing 16th, and just every week doing our jobs and racing smart, racing hard, making the most of what we have. So I just want to look back and know that we overachieved.
Okay. And we can look back and you're going to share on social media if you get that Ford GT, right?
Yeah, I am also trying to get a GT350. Yeah. I can't afford the Ford GT itself. Those are a little bit pricey. They're cool, though. I know Kurt Busch has one, and Ricky Stenhouse, and somebody else has one, too. The Ford GTs are crazy, but I want to get a Shelby GT350 Mustang.
Yeah.
And yes, I would like to look back and show that I shared that on social media and had some fun driving that to my race shop.
Yeah. All right. Well, I appreciate it, Matt, and it's fun. I'm glad I got to come here and we got to do it here. So it's a fun little group, and we'll have to catch up definitely at the end of the year.
Yes, sounds good. We'll do a recap.
I like it. All right. We'll mark it down. Thank you, bud.
Thanks.